Fantasy 4 free Enterprise randomizer weekly race featuring tonight. With me tonight in the booth is Invenerable. Inven, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. Looking forward to the weekly race tonight. These are always a highlight of my week, and I'm excited to see how our racers play this particular flag set.
Yeah, this particular flag set is interesting. In my opinion, it's a little bit of a slower flag set, particularly due to the S2, T2 flags being ticked on. So whatever especially the T2, because we haven't seen that much. What's the T2 do for us tonight?
Well, T2 is going to slow down our character's progression a little bit. Our last couple of races have had T4, which means that any chest can contain any piece of gear from pretty much anywhere in the game except for key items. Now it's going to be a little more locked to progression. Earlier in the overworld, you'll find stuff a little weaker. As you gain access to the underworld and the moon, your chest will start to contain slightly better and better material equipment without necessarily getting too OP like we've seen the last few weeks.
Right, so this is going to be a slower, I'm not going to say grind, because grind isn't the right word, but this is going to be a slower progression through things, and then all of a sudden it's going to be, okay, time for Zeromus. So it's going to be quite interesting to see. I'm really looking forward to some things. Now, do note that the glitches have been turned back on this week, so you will see, glitching weapons. You will see glitching throwable weapons. So, all right, so we have started this race, and as soon as Twitch delay kicks us on, we'll see the racers. As you can see, we are currently starting with Porom. Inven, what do you think about Porom as our starting character?
I'll describe her as my third favorite caster of white magic. Which, with the fairly limited list, may sound like she's pretty far down on it, but having white magic's invaluable early in the game. Usually you'll want to end up getting Rosa if you can, just because of her HP gains by Zeromus. But early on, Porom's completely serviceable for what we're doing.
Oh, and we get the wonderful starting duo of Porom and Edward. Probably two of the weaker characters in the game. Now, the good news is the no free lunch flag has been turned off, so we're going to get 2 freebies in Mysidia. We're going to get the freebie in the Watery Passage. We're going to get the freebie at Damsian. And also, given that their starting key item was the package, we're going to get a freebie from Mist as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, provided they want to go through the cutscene. It wouldn't surprise me if they go there, and it's just another Edward, and we see a bunch of resets. But we'll see how that pans out shortly, I hope.
And as you can see, Rivers is right now turned his encounters on, and he is going for one of the glitches right now.
Oh yes, definitely trying to dupe those items to get a whole bunch of money, because stores do cost it in this week's flags. I don't think he actually had to turn his encounters on. We were talking about T2 and S2 earlier, but another big change this week is that our runners can't disable encounters. So if you're diving a dungeon for loot, you better be ready to sacrifice that time to running away. Or
oh, that's right. I did forget about that flag being on. Okay, so we have Palom, who is one of the better black mages, and another Edward.
More Edward. More Edwards for everyone.
So just to give you guys an idea, with the no free lunch flags turned off, we can see up to 3 copies of 1 or 2 different characters. So we may yet see another Edward.
I think the worst one I had while practicing this past week was in my first 9 characters, 8 of them were Edward or a Mysidian twin. So hopefully our runners won't have that bad of luck, but don't be surprised if you see it happen.
And we do have our third Edward. We have a vanilla Edward. So there we go. There are our 3 copies of Edwards out of the way quick.
Well, hopefully that means that the next find won't be yet another Edward. If so, I will start to curse the free lunch that we've been given at this point.
Ooh, Alexa finding sirens early, which is an awesome find. Do note that the Japanese, I believe we're on J2 tonight, the Japanese flags, when the Japanese items are turned on, sirens are invaluable because they set up some really nice grind locations. Sirens start a battle with the rarest enemy set. And, for when we're down in the underworld, we're going to grind on yellow dragon eggs. Up here in the overworld, you'll find our runners sometimes going into ordeals to grind on the 2 Lilith fights at the summit.
The 2 of them giving about 5,500 XP a pop. I've definitely used that fight a couple times before doing the 3 boss gauntlet at the top there, just to make sure, my characters were up to snuff.
Okay, we have Cecil in the Watery Passage, and the other thing you're going to note as Alexa and Rivers both pick up the pass from Edward and Toroya. The P1 flag is turned on, which means the pass is shuffled in amongst the key items, and one of 4 different key items is actually removed. Either the Adamant, the Pink Tail, the Legend Sword, or...
or the Spoon. The Spoon is the...
That's right, that's right.
And for me personally, I always hope it's the Spoon, because still having access to both Excalibur and an Adamant armor, if your C decides to, not give you gear otherwise, can be quite handy, especially with the glitches enabled. Having a huge stack of holy swords to fling with Edge is always handy at Zeromus.
Yeah, and as you can see, Sho does have Cecil from the Watery Passage. So certainly the Excalibur, the 255 Excalibur glitch is certainly turned on at this point. Now, Alexa is leaving Cecil behind, partially because Cecil's absolutely useless as a Dark Knight.
Yeah, but you have to think, I do have Edward in the party, and are you looking really to ditch Edward first or Cecil first? Who do you like less at this point? Well, as soon as you have a full party.
Well, there are a lot of runners in the Final Fantasy IV community that actually just can't stand Cecil anyways because, well, the whole thing with Cecil is that all of the game's speed is based off of Cecil speed. So, that can become problematic as Cecil, becomes stronger because his speed goes up. The speed of the enemies also increases. So some people just avoid Cecil at all costs just because of that.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely seen some people have difficulty at the Zeromus fight because they overleveled their Cecil, and then all of a sudden Zeromus is getting so many turns compared to the rest of their players that they just can't keep them standing.
Looks like River's picking up a 10-pack of Wizard's hats, which is nice because it adds 5 points to both your Will and Wisdom stats, which affect white and black magic respectively.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I'm, like we were mentioning, with having both T2 and E0 enabled. If you want to go grind gear in treasure chests in dungeons, you're going to be eating up a lot of extra time. So checking this item and weapon, this weapon and armor shop might not be something you do under other flag sets, but tonight it's going to help him out a lot.
Absolutely. We can see all of our runners are kind of doing similar things, although they're doing them in completely different orders, which is actually perfectly normal for this type of thing.
Yeah, 3 of our runners converging on Mysidia all at the same time. Rivers only being the only odd one out for now.
Okay. Nico getting his stash of gold with 616,000 off selling, 66,000 plus Thunder Rods.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's actually FF in hexadecimal, which makes it, or maybe FFF, which fairly appropriate given the game we're playing tonight.
Okay, also notice that in Mist, from turning in the package, we got Sid. So Sid is a really nice character to have early.
Mm-hmm. It appears though that after seeing Sid in that spot, Rivers decided to take a reset, maybe coming back for him later, or since he has Cecil, deciding he doesn't need another agility anchor.
Well, he just picked up Cecil, so we'll see what happens. My guess, though, is if he left Sid behind, he probably is just leaving him behind for good. So Alexa now checking Mountain Ordeals. Who do we have at Ordeals? Is this even randomized?
Vanillatella, Vanillatella, Vanillatella. You can't get that old man off that mountain.
So this is actually looking really similar to a practice seed I did with these flags. I wound up my first 5 party members, and the only ones I could access in the overworld were Edward, Palom, Porom, Tella, and Kane, thankfully. So I did have some physical damage there, but that was an interesting party.
Yeah, that definitely can be slow going early on. And speaking of that, we have another flag active tonight with the C1 that will make both Edge and Fusoya slightly harder to find. You won't be getting them with your free lunch, so it's no surprise we're seeing some of the weaker or at least trickier characters to use early on.
Ooh, Zeus Gauntlet in the Damsian basement is a huge find. So that's for Cecil once Cecil levels up to Paladin status.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's plus 10 strength and vitality. I don't think there's another glove that gives a higher strength bonus in the game.
And it also is the highest defense glove in the game, aside from the crystal gloves. But given the strength and vitality increase, you're absolutely equipping the Zeus gauntlets.
That DPS is, I mean, if you're speedrunning, you want to have glass cannons and just keep yourself alive through your wit rather than through your stats.
So let's see what Alexa does when she finds out that the character here is indeed Cid.
Is she going to go with the old man party or leave the engineer to sit there in the burning village all by himself?
Looks like Rivers is now going to take on the Fabul Gauntlet.
Let's see, anything in the shop interesting him there? Darkness Arrow is going to see if he can up his character's DPS just a hair before tackling whatever boss this is.
Yeah, the Darkness Arrows, I believe, are the strongest arrows you can buy before going to the Underworld with these flags, I think. It's either them or the Charm Arrows.
I think I saw the Charm Arrows once. I found Mute Arrows fairly commonly over the course of the week, but of course you don't want to have to go hunt every shop just to find an arrow upgrade. You're going to take what you can get, you know, without backtracking a dozen times. And it does look like Alexa is going through with the cutscene, gonna pick up Cid and have a really good agility anchor for her party, at least, on top of Tella already.
Right, and given the fact that she did leave Cecil behind in the Watery Pass, I think Cid is going to be her agility anchor for the Siege unless she decides to pick up Cecil.
Rivers is keeping us in suspense. I'm looking forward to seeing what nasty surprise the Fabul Gauntlet has in store for us.
I would imagine he's
safety
going to
save after.
Yeah, safety save. Yeah, safety save just in case. Oh, it's a Wyvern, because I do believe the Wyvern flag is actually inactivated. So Wyvern's first move will be Mega Nuke.
And also, having spent time shopping and doing a little bit of re-equipping, you really don't want to have to eat the time to redo all that. It'd be one thing if you had just run straight in, but you don't want to have to redo all that menuing and re-equipping. And we have, come on, who's it going to be? Oh, well, there you go.
This is a relatively simple battle at this point. Officer and 3 soldiers, a little bit accelerated HP, a little bit accelerated attack, but otherwise nothing too special here.
And also, once more, because we're playing with free lunch active this week, there's one degree of the no free lunch flag, which would make these guys have the boss bit, immune to status effects and such. He throws that hourglass, one of the J items, on them right off the bat, and they will not be moving for this entire fight.
Yep, and notice that Rivers decides to kill the captain first, the officer first, because he wants the full amount of experience from this battle. If he kills the 3 soldiers before the officer will run away, and you'll lose roughly a quarter of the experience from this battle, and you want all the experience you can get off of easy fights.
Definitely. It looks like Alexa's getting ready to head into Kaipo with her unconscious Cid in tow. We'll get to see which boss she has to fight if she wants him to join the... Oh no, I was wrong. I thought she was re-equipping outside of Kaipo, but she's going on to the Antlion Cave.
If the Antlion Cave holds what is the quote-unquote easy key item boss in the seed.
Although it can still be quite harsh. I think I was playing a Kata seed the other week, which Kata being Catastrophe. He's a member of our community, and he loves playing seeds with the hardest flags enabled. And went to the Outline Cave with a fairly weak 2 characters, and Golbez was waiting on me. So that didn't pan out well at all.
No, I do. So that seed I was telling you about with Cain and Edward and Tella, Palin, and Param, I was going through it, no problem, and then Wyvern was the boss in the inside Mount Ordeals, where Cecil turns out to be a paladin. Yeah, I abandoned that site for a good long time.
Well, on the bright side, he only has, what, about 1,000 HP? So if you can even get one good turn off, you're probably okay. But getting that turn off is a challenge unto itself.
So it looks like we do have Cain here in the Baron Inn.
Guarded by a whole bunch of tentacles just plopping up out of the chairs. Very Lovecraftian right now.
And we have Octomom. And what do we have here? We have Sho fighting King and Queen Eblon. Missed where that is. And we have Alexa fighting the Dark Knight down in the Antlion.
The King and Queen Eblon there are the ones that will let Sho add Sid to the party. That's just in the Kaipo Inn. And, oh, excellent. Alexa did not opt to let the Dark Knight suicide by using its attack 3 times. Probably with her character's low HP, it was better to just DPS race him.
And we have the magma key in the Antlion Cave, so that will allow access to the underworld. So the question is, does Alexa head to the underworld right away to take advantage of some free shops down there? Some free advanced shops.
Yes, both Tamra and the Dwarven Castle are immediately accessible. Unlike past weeks, you can't get to the Feymarch store quite so easily with encounters turned on. But more importantly, Alexa bought a stack of sirens, so if she wants to, that yellow dragon egg farming spot is available to her right now.
Yeah, but the only issue with farming that yellow dragon is just essentially killing the first one, right? And each yellow D egg has, what, roughly 2,000 experience. So if you can kill it in 2 moves, there's no problem. But if you don't kill it after the second move, what happens is the yellow dragon is going to counter with thunder every time, and that will wreck early parties.
Definitely, definitely. Although, if she... I haven't seen what all J items she's picked up, but it's very vulnerable to quite a few of them. I know that the hourglasses will stop it, and I know that the coffin item will kill it outright without even letting it hatch, so...
Right, so the if she could find coffins, this is free grinding.
Which, depending on your seed, sometimes we do have the bonus XP flags in play tonight. So if you get 10 key items, all your XP gains are doubled. But if there's a harsh boss keeping you from proceeding, you may want to go ahead and do a little grind a little sooner just to get past that speed bump.
So action is happening all over the place, and I actually missed what the key item was in Fabul. That looked like that was, oh, the spoon. Okay. According to the tracker says spoon.
Rivers, did Rivers just get the twin harp from the Baron in them?
He did.
Excellent, okay.
And I did miss who the character was that would be revised by the Sand Ruby.
Yes, keeping track with all these things and so much happening, it does get a little tricky. So if we're behind on anything, chat, just let us know. And our tracker, Shylesia, doing a fantastic job, is letting us know that that is actually the pan, not the spoon. I think the highlighted item to the right there is, I mean, the not highlighted item to the right of it is the spoon. So, do you want to talk a little bit about what the pan will let Rivers do once he gets his underworld access?
Sure. So the pan, the really nice thing about the pan is it allows you to make only 1 dive into the Sylph Cave, right? Because if you've played vanilla Final Fantasy IV before, Yang, once he gets swallowed by Leviathan, and after... Oh crap, where does he leave the second time? Oh, the Super Cannon. After being obliterated by the Super Cannon, winds up in the Sylph Cave recovering. And then the whole storyline there is you have to talk to Yang once, go back to his wife Sheila in Fabul to get the pan, to go back to Yang, to bash Yang on the head with a pan to wake him up, to go back and get the spoon from Sheila. The nice thing is having the pan first, all you have to do is go to Yang once and bash him on the head with the pan to wake him up, and then you get 2 free items from Sheila in Fabul.
And with that Encounter 0 flagged, where we can't turn them off, you do not want to have to double dive Sylph Cave if you can help it. Yeah, with the damaged floor and the annoying enemies, plus if you've not grinded out your levels yet, it can be a very dangerous place.
So Alexa picking up some nice shields from the Tomura treasure chest. I saw a Dragoon and a Samurai shield, but, you know, nothing absolutely fantastic. Night Dew, Kane was in the Baron Inn.
Looks like Alexa is getting ready to go fight the Eblin royalty and add Sid to her party. A couple of our runners diving Antlion Cave now, where, of course, Dark Knight Cecil will be waiting for them. There's that initial shock when you see him like, oh my gosh, my characters have so little HP, but it is still the Antlion spot, so it only takes about 1,000 to knock him down.
So the one thing I'm half surprised by, and I only say half, is that we are 17 minutes into the seed, and nobody has decided to go all the way up Ordeals yet. Ordeals is a fairly nice spot in that it's 3... I'm not going to say relatively easy, but 3 bosses that give good experience, But the problem is if you go too early, you can absolutely get boss blocked out of the rest of Ordeals.
And also, once again, with the encounter flag, because Ordeals is one of the few dungeons in the game, or maybe several dungeons in the game, I should say, that you cannot exit out of. So even having Tella with the exit magic, or if they have found the exit items, if you walk up there and find you can't beat those bosses, you have to do the Walk of Shame all the way back down the mountain. Rivers and Sir Nico meeting up. They did just defend their way through the Dark Knight fight. I'm guessing his magic power in that spot, the Antlion slot, isn't strong enough to really be a dilemma. Let's see if Sho also decides to just defend through it or try to DPS race. Nightdew making the good point that it's still better than the lower Babel Walk of Shame, no doubt.
That is always awful when you have to go up there to wind your way around just to have to go back. That is an awful walk of shame, especially with the encounters turned on.
And yet another dungeon also that you can't exit out of, so if you go in there, be ready for a slog with this flag active.
Alright, so it looks like we're getting our first check of the Hobbs character, and he's taking the back way so that if he doesn't like the character, he doesn't have to do anything with it.
And we have Porum there, so just a duplicate. I believe Porum is the one with, Palom is the one with the red cape, correct? And Porum with the green?
Palom I think has the green and Porum has the orange.
Okay.
I think. I don't know anymore. I can never tell. I can never tell those two apart from their sprites. Never.
It's almost like they're twins or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, and Rivers feels he's ready to go ascend Ordeals. Make his does he already have Tella in his party? Not yet. So we'll see if he decides to pick up Tella on the way, and if so, completing the mountain will give him both a handy sage with plenty of spells, both white and black magic, as well as Paladin Cecil.
And Chad is telling me I am wrong, and you were correct in them, that Porum has the green cape and Palom has the red cape. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, at least when they grow up, they're like, why did we let that elder dress us the same all those years?
And I was
joke.
And I was just about to say, let's see what Rivers does here. Does he accept Tella, who's relatively useless right now, for Edward? And he does.
And he slapped that power staff on him too. We're gonna see if we have a barbarian Tella for the next few fights.
Now the mute knife is nice because I do believe it increases the wisdom, which is the black magic stat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, looks like he's going to actually kill the Silith for a little bonus XP instead of just running from it.
Yeah, I would too. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, they are the best source of experience on the mountain, so just making sure you're ready for the gauntlet at the top.
And I believe they're worth somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,500 experience, give it 2,750. So that's a huge bonus to levels right there.
Mm-hmm. Better than, I think, any other fight on there. And I've done quite a few this week dealing with these E0 flags.
Okay, so you have Sho taking on the Fabul quote-unquote gauntlet, as does Alexa. And as you can see, Alexa's fight only yielded 3,000 experience as opposed to Rivers' 5,500 because Alexa could not kill the officer in time.
Mm-hmm. And Sir Nico is going to be following closely there. All three of them have, in spite of their differing paths, have kind of converged on the monk's homeland, and we'll see if they find their rewards extra fabulous.
Oh. And Rivers is now going through the Fabul Gauntlet here with the Vanilla Milan boss.
You get a Fabul Gauntlet, and you get a Fabul Gauntlet. Enjoy having that low amount of XP divided up amongst, 16 different enemies here? Oof.
Yeah, this is a slow one. Now the nice thing is the item Lightning Bolt.
Mm-hmm. Moving them up in his inventory to quickly item down to instead of actually having to scroll down or waste, ineffective melee attacks with his back row mages.
Alexa now taking on the Octomom for Kain.
That'll be a welcome addition to any party. I think anytime I can find Kain in a run is going to be a pretty good run.
I like finding Kain early, but especially with these flags, me keeping Kain around depends very largely on the type of weapon I can get for Kain. Because depending on where you dig, you might max out with, well, not the wind spear, but you might max out with like the blizzard spear or a defense sword, maybe.
Oh, I'd be excited to find a defense sword on these flags. I've been settling, like you said, true. Blizzard spear feels pretty good. Other than that, found a few rune axes while running this week. That's a handy item for Paladin, Cecil, Kain, or Cid. But beyond that, like you said, with T2 and S2. It's going to be hard-pressed to really just steamroll enemies with your equipment.
Yeah, the Rune Axe... Now, the Rune Axe in this seed is actually going to be really nice, because the Rune Axe is Cid's best weapon. So, you do have that. Personally, I like going to Zeromus with Cid and a Rune Axe, because you just throw Berserk, and he'll do 2,000-3,000 a hit, and he can tank all the nukes and big bangs. So you pretty much just Berserk him and forget about him.
Just set it and forget it.
Yeah, and if you can find the item Bacchus, even better.
Oh yeah, don't even have to spend your white mage's turns getting him steamrolling over whoever Zeromus happens to be. River's taking a safety save, definitely not wanting to have to redo that fight anytime soon.
Oh, so we have a DPS race here with Odin.
Luckily, he does have those lightning bolt items, which, although they are based on the character's HP that uses them, they should be doing quad damage because of Odin's weakness to the element.
Yep, and this is... So what are we battling here? Well, you either kill Odin before he raises the sword, or he will raise his sword and slaughter you mercilessly.
I think there's one spot where I was lucky enough to fight him. It may have been the Dark Imps guarding the Babel Cannon Room, where he was fast and I didn't get it off, and then he actually swung it and did like 100 damage to each character, and I went from panic to, oh, okay. So Odin himself can be nerfed if he's in a few lucky spots, but I'm pretty sure that Mylon Z spot is not one of them.
Alright, so Rivers downs Odin and picks up the really nice thing for Palom, picks up Virus. The really nice thing about Palom, especially early game, is he gets super early. Virus being a very nice single target option, whereas Quake is a pretty much kill everything multi-target option. So if Rivers did find those Sirens, I believe in Troya, once he goes down into the underworld, he can grind on those eggs without any problem.
Palom definitely... I mean, Rydia, one of my favorite characters from the Final Fantasy series. Always been a big fan of her. Summon magic, when I was playing this game at, the age of 8 or 9, dating myself a little bit there, the summon magic was always the coolest thing. Just Leviathan and Bahamut, some of these huge monsters. But in Randomizer, Palom definitely does have a few advantages, both in learning the spells and in terms of survivability.
Oh no, it's Plague. Whatever are they going to do? The nice thing about Plague taking Dark Cecil spot is that Dark Cecil spot has an extraordinarily low HP. So as you can see, one jump from Kain and bye-bye Plague.
Yeah, much worse locations there. For instance, the Element spot in the Giant of Babel. Not that anyone will need to go there on this seed, but finding Plague where you actually have to do weird manipulations and have one of your characters die, res them to reset the timer. No fun, especially if you're trying to go fast.
So Alexa trying to get through the Magisters fight here. Looks like she's struggling a little bit with it.
Still have Cid and Palom up alright. Porum, not liking having that 6 HP.
And we have Sir Nico heading down to the underworld.
Alright, let's see what's in the Dwarf Castle shops. The item shop. Ether 2s and Cure 2s, both very useful. Ether 2s the entire game, Cure 2s in the mid-game. Zeus, Rage, and Boreas, both doing Tier 2 elemental magic attacks. Can be very handy for a party with characters like Edward, who don't have a lot of other offensive options. Doing a little bit of inventory reorganization right quick. Going to check out the weapon and armor shop and maybe some of the chests around before going to actually challenge whatever boss lingers in the Calbrina spot.
Diamond armlets, nice defense boost here.
Alexa making her journey up ordeals. No prospective paladin in her party, but at least Tella will unlock his remaining spells. Rivers finally making the journey down to the underworld as well. Sir Nico opting not to fight those bosses yet, going to go do a little more looting in the southern town of Tomra,
where we know he'll find a couple of nice shields up in the treasure house, but otherwise nothing fantastic, if I remember.
Those life potions can be handy if you end up resorting to the Dragon Machine grind in the Tower of Babel, Giant of Babel, but with those sirens, I'll be and especially with encounters on, I'll be surprised if anyone makes that dive for the sake of leveling tonight.
Yeah, I can't see anybody diving the Giant of Babel, not with encounters on and early sirens. I can't see it.
Nah, definitely not. And I did not see what key item Rivers got from the Paladin room. Did you manage to catch
the rat tail?
Ah, gotcha. So now, as soon as we get the hook, we'll get to trade that rat tail in for yet another key item. Yeah, 2 for the price of 1 at that rate.
And given that everybody has a twin harp, we have not yet seen a dive into Cave Magnus.
Before the race started, I told Alexa, since she was going to be our sound source for the majority of the race, that everyone's looking forward to the twin harp. So keep that in mind. Not to try to sabotage a racer, but everyone enjoys a good rousing bard solo, right?
Exactly. And the bard solos are really well done. So, props to that.
Yeah, Boardface did an amazing job. I don't know if he did them all solo or if he had help, but it is hands down one of my favorite parts of this game. And sometimes if I'm deciding between 2 locations to go search for my next item, that will push me over the edge, and I'll go check the Dark Elf Cave.
All right, Sir Nico diving the Sylvan Cave. Can he get through?
With that pan, there's 2 more key items waiting for him back at Sheila, if he can make it down there. All his characters at 1 HP from the damage tiles, but still escaping with their lives from a back attack by 3 Marlboros. Yeesh.
Yeah, and this is the thing you have to be careful of in these, more advanced caves, in the Sylph Cave and in the Land of the Summon Monsters Cave. Back attacks are going to be a thing, and if you get damaged with the back attack, you're pretty well toast.
It took me a moment. I was looking at his party. I'm like, wait, but how did he lose a character? Oh, Edward. Edward is still in that party, and Edward does not like having 1 HP.
Now, Hydeward has come to visit.
Sho Fukumachi about to take down Plague as well in the Dark Cecil spot. Alexa won't be too far behind him.
Rivers taking on the boss at the Dwarf Castle, and is that Milan Z, maybe?
It was definitely a hooded figure in a purple robe, so I guess we'll find out soon.
And Sir Nico does get to bop Yang on the head with the pan.
And that means we'll actually get a reward from the Sylphs as well, which, even with the T2 flags active, this can be a very powerful item, like the Stardust Rod. Hello there!
So that is the best rod in the game. Okay, so for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it is the strongest rod in the game. Number two, when used as an item, it actually casts the Stardust spell, which is basically the same as Comet. It's a multi-target attack that I believe does 600 to 800 damage per enemy. But the real nice thing about the Stardust Rod is that it increases your wisdom by 15.
The highest boost to that stat from any piece of equipment, I believe, excluding the adamant armor, of course.
Right. So it's a huge bonus to the wisdom stat. So now you're going to see there's a dramatic increase in Palom's ability now to cast black magic. You're going to see now, with just that alone, you're going to see 99.99 on nuke on Zeromus when we get there.
And until then, if he does decide to grind anytime soon, that Quake spell will also be wrecking whatever poor enemies gets in his way. Of course, once he has it unlocked. I don't think his Palom is quite there yet.
And we have Rivers taking on Milan and his army of guests.
Of course, Milon, the base form, countering every attack done to him with the Lightning 1 spell, doing piddly damage. So this is more of a time sink at this point than an actual risk of a party wipe.
Yeah. It's like, oh, wow, this tickles. Stop, please.
It's like in the middle of winter when you've been wearing a bulky sweater and then you touch your light switch and it just arcs. That's what Milon's doing right now. He's just wearing a whole bunch of wool and just staticking everyone every time they hit him.
But he hits like a Mack truck.
He's like, okay, enough zapping. Here we go. Bonk.
Back.
Alexa doing a little bit of inventory management. That is one thing about having the Japanese items enabled. All of a sudden there is far more items and equipment in the game, and your inventory can get clogged in a hurry.
And Eddie saving Sir Nico's dive here down into the Feymark.
Edward for MVP right there.
So what do we have here as the free item? We have the crystal.
Between that and the pass, Sir Nico is now in go mode. He just needs to find a way to grind his party up, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. If he takes both Edward and Tella to the moon, that is some serious swag right there.
Yeah, I could never. I would at least try to get one more person and do some form of damage. And relying on Porom as your healer is just. It's tough because Porom's HP just never grows.
So let's see how Sir Nico decides to play this. He knows that he can go fight Zeromus anytime he wants, so what's he going to do to actually prepare for that fight? River sitting through one of the longer cutscenes, having beaten both the bosses. The dismembered arm goes and steals the Dwarf Castle crystal.
Now, I did miss the character to replace Rydia. Did you happen to catch it?
I did not. Chat probably knows. Well, Nightdew was asking about it too.
Nobody good? Because I think River's party's still the same.
Yeah, if it were good, he would definitely have done the replacement. Using the warp glitch to get into the sealed cave key item, which is just the spoon. Womp womp. And on that note, since Glitchless is not enabled tonight, you can save a horrible dive through the sealed cave as long as you have a character who can cast the warp spell after that fight. Since the programmers made that crystal room the same crystal room as the one at the end of the sealed cave.
So we're getting a whole bunch of key items just kind of crashing in all at once. From the Dwarf Castle, we got the Sand Ruby. I missed what the... Oh boy, I missed what the crystal was using the warp glitch.
That was just the spoon.
Oh, that was the spoon. Okay. And then from Sheila up in Fabul, we got the Baron Key and we got the Pink Tail.
Ooh, so that hook looking extra tasty just to get an adamant armor. Since we do have the spoon and the pink tail now, we know that the pass replaced either the legend sword or the adamant key item, so we will not be seeing a vanilla Excalibur tonight. Which, given the number of parties that don't have Cecil in them, doesn't seem to be a particular concern to several of our runners anyway.
So if we look here, we've got Sir Nico at 8 key items and about to pick up his 9th in the Twin Harp. Why is this particularly important? Well, because we have the option turned on where you will double experience once you pick up 10 key items.
And also, given that, like we were talking about his party composition earlier, having both Edward and Tella, wouldn't surprise me if he goes for that 10th key item in a place where he's sure he will get another character. Probably Baron Castle, he's already there.
Yeah, given how he has Baron Key, that will make sense. And given how that character is considered, trapped behind a battle, you might even find Edge or Fusoya there.
Ooh, and both of those be extra helpful at this point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although, we do have Fusoya Challenge on, so I've not actually kept track of exactly how many boss battles Sir Nico has fought, but that could make a difference in Fu's utility as well as the time it would take to get him leveled up, so to speak. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that Fusoya flag does, the Fusoya Challenge?
Absolutely. So F1, the Fusoya Challenge 1, or no, 2. This is the flag 2. He starts out with 600 HP and a smattering of spells. And for every boss you kill, you get another 100 HP plus another smattering of spells. It's usually 3 or 4. You need to kill 13. You need to kill 13 bosses in order to fully power up Fusoya.
So if you've had a relative jet seed, you're saying, then it may not be worth it to take him if you have to actually go hunt down bosses to get him, comparable to your other mages.
Yeah, for me and these seeds, I don't think Fusoya would be worth it, especially considering his low HP value and his relative ability to be, wiped off the face of the earth with one big bang.
But when you're looking at having Edward, Tella, and Porum in your party, all of a sudden, it's not like he has a high bar to clear there on the HP front.
Yeah, so it looks like Rivers did take Rydia in his party. So I wonder if now we're going to get some guarded chest looks just to see if he can get the Bahamut summon out of one of them.
Definitely. One of the other things, we're talking about the treasure flags and how they differed this week, is that with the T4 flag, you'll probably start to find Odin and Bahamut and Leviathan, in just random chests as you check. T2, those summons are randomized amongst their vanilla locations and the lunar subterranean bosses. So if you want to actually get one of those spells, you got to actually put in the work for it.
Yeah, so in other words, no, probably not.
Although, like you were saying, they can be mixed in with the monsters chest as well, which the Sylph Cave does have more than its fair share of those. But I'm not sure I'd want to go for that. I might just worry about grinding her up to have access to some normal black magic.
I would agree with that.
Oh, and Sir Nico is doing the grind. He picked up Kain, and did he actually get a 10th key item? 2, 4, 6? I don't think he did. I think he feels like, double XP is nice, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I've got my team. Let me just grind up and get the show on the road.
And he hasn't found any coffins. And he's going to heal the LOD with the lightning.
Ooh, and there's that thunder counterattack you were talking about. Wow, I expected that to do more damage. That must be one of the...
too.
I'm guessing... Oh, okay. The melee attack did. He one-shotted Kain and Sid. It must be one of those percentage-based attacks, like Blaze and Flame, because otherwise I can't see them surviving that easily. And we have Kylan97 in chat's letting us know that it's 10% damage. So, yeah, if you have a high-ranking Cid, all of a sudden it looks like it's dishing out tons. But apparently to a low-level party, it's not the thunder we got to worry about. It's the whacking, like just happened there.
All right, so strategy number 2. Twin. Now, also notice that Nico has not gone up on ordeals, so he doesn't have access to Tella's good spells, which would actually be really helpful right about now.
Very much so. Tella does learn Stone after unlocking his spells, and the Egg and the Dragon Form are both vulnerable for it if he, of course, if his spell accuracy is good enough to actually make it connect.
Now, that said, if he can get one of these down, then that'll probably make this a whole lot easier.
Ooh, let's see. And he did just that. Let's see how many levels are gained here. 4 for Tella, 8 by one of the twins, it looks like.
And there's Virus, and there's Quake. There we go.
Quake is going to make this go swimmingly from here on. So, exciting to see. Sir Nico is off to the races. Rivers going up and checking with Sheila to get his 2 extra key items as well.
He's going to pick up his Baron Key and the Pink Tail.
And having the Rat Tail already, I'm sure he's like, where's the hook? Is this blocked behind the hook? But no, you just got to head to Feymarch at this point.
Yep, and do notice that Rivers is now up to 10 key items.
Let's see, Alexa is diving Feymarch, so she will soon have her crystal and be in go mode. Even though Rivers is behind a little bit there, with 10 key items, that Yellow Dragon grind can be, it can go twice as fast for him. So we'll see if he manages to close that distance on Sir Nico as the race continues.
So it's interesting that he's about taking Tella to ordeals. At some point, you got to think he does.
I mean, if you're confident enough in your other 4 characters, just, okay, he can throw an item on another party member, and we're good.
I mean, unless he wants to use Tella as nothing more than the dude who nerfs the Big Bang. I mean, and you gotta time it well, because one Big Bang will wipe out Porom, usually.
Unless he goes really all in on this grind, which definitely will give both Alexa and Rivers time to catch up.
And I am surprised that he is not using Quake strats on this egg, because Quake, at this point, should one-hit that egg.
Well, one thing, I know that a lot of runners are still new to the Yellow Dragon grind. I remember rewatching last week's VOD, of course, and a bunch of people, were like, oh, where is it? I've heard about this. It had just been added to the newbie guide. So this may be a grind that a lot of people are unfamiliar with, and just what tools they have at their disposal for knocking this thing down.
Now, I think last week, watching the VOD of last week's race, that's when I first learned of the coffin trick with the egg grind. Now, I'm completely used to the Yellow Dragon grind. I've done that pretty much in every weekly race. It's the coffin trick I didn't know. So,
same. I'd tried a variety of things. I'd use the hourglass items on them to make them, freeze so that they wouldn't have any of their counters or crack out of the egg. And then on them, I'd had a good time with Kain with a Dragoon Spear doing quad damage to them, since they still count as dragons. And then I go and see, here's this item I bought in a store, give me my XP, and felt a little sheepish about the whole situation.
Oh, so was Joe is looking like he's getting ready to save before doing battle. Sir Nico looks like he did a mini grind there to go get his 10th key item from the Dwarf Castle.
Oh, and this will also let him swap out one of his less desirable characters when we see who's waiting between the fights in the Crystal Room.
Yeah, the only quote-unquote trouble with this is who's waiting for him with the Sand Ruby is Rydia, who is also another extremely low HP character. Let's see if this pays off.
Alexa getting her crystal from the vanilla rat tail chest, so she is now in go mode. But also sitting on, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8 with the crystal key items, so not at 10 for the grind either.
Yeah, although I know for a fact that she does have sirens. She was the first one that picked up the sirens.
Definitely, definitely. River's finding a lunar staff in the save point house, which another really great white mage item, giving, I believe, plus 10 will. A nice little buff to their magic power.
Yep, plus 10. The only thing that does better is the life staff with a plus 15.
Oh, we have a great double sync going on right now with Alexa and Rivers both in the Fey March, and Sho and Cerniko both fighting Mylon at the same time. So
this is a response to Kylan97's question in chat. He asks, are adult and child Rydia different characters in this? No. Adult and child Rydia are basically the same. The only difference is sprites, really.
Well, there's one other minor difference. Like, their stat growth is the same. The spells they learn by leveling up are the same. You can certainly take Child Rydia all the way to the Zeromus, but if you don't do that Crystal Chamber fight, she won't learn her kind of mid-tier elemental summons, and she won't learn the second level black magic either. But at that point, you want to cast Nuke and Bahamut anyway, and you get those, whether she is a child or in her adult form.
All right, so River's picking up his crystal, and it looks like he is going to go turn in the Sand Ruby for Rydia. Let's see if he gets rid of Tella for... Oh, no, he is going to pick up Sid now.
So I wonder if he's going to actually get rid of Paladin Cecil at this point just to have the agility anchor, or if he just wants Sid for additional, melee DPS. Should be interesting to see which way he goes with it here.
Well, he has Kayn, so he might actually take Sid now. But then again, you don't have weapon for either one of them, really.
Yeah, but it's Rivers McCown. Does he really need that good of a weapon for either one? Let's be honest here.
All right, point taken.
Yeah, he'll probably actually keep Cecil, because having the 3 mage party, I know that's very viable. I had one the other day where I actually did reflect strats at Zeromus, but it is pretty nice to just be able to have, a front row of Zerkers just going crazy on Zeromus, because if you are berserked, you don't have to wait your turn. As soon as that ATB gauge fills up, you take the swing and you get the damage boost.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, the 3 mage party is most effective when Fusuga is one of your mages. Because this way you can have 2 white mages or 2 black mages, depending. You're not kind of locked in there.
That's true. His flexibility does help immensely during that. But sadly, we've not seen Fu. We've not seen Edge. They are well hidden behind that C1 flag, I believe.
Yeah, we haven't seen Yang yet either.
Oh, that is surprising. He's been one of my go-to party members this whole week on these flags.
Yeah, I find Yang to be a really strong character on these flags, given that he needs so little equipment to be extraordinarily effective. And then once you can berserk him for Zeromus, then he just deals damage. I mean, anywhere between 2,000 and 4,000 damage per hit. It's wonderful.
I am sad that this means we will not get to hear the Twin Harp Song of the Night. Hopefully next week the flags will guide us through there, and we'll get to rock out a little bit. Easily one of my favorite things added to this randomizer. I mean, the gameplay is amazing, but it's those little, icing on the cake that makes it so fun and enjoyable to play time and time again.
Yeah, between that and the Z flag, where you can change Zeromus into one of a number of different sprites, is just awesome.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to see who will be waiting for us in the Z spot tonight.
Of course, I am a little, predilected toward the Z flag, given my name and everything.
You are the Z man, absolutely.
Indeed.
All right, so Alexa and Cerniko kind of racing each other to see who can get their levels first. Rivers, I think, is comfortable with his party at this point, heading back to the airship. We'll see if he comes back down to the Yellow Dragon farm.
Yep, he kicked out Rydia, so he's going with the Black Mage, White Mage, and 3 just beat-em-up characters, which I think makes sense.
And also, Rivers is super confident in his ability to nerf those big bang attacks during the Zeromus fight, which we'll talk about that a little more when we get there. But that means that he doesn't really worry as much about Porom having low HP, because he knows how to make it so you can nurse fairly weak characters through that fight.
So notice how quickly Alexa is getting her levels by using the Quake strats, whereas it's taking Cerniko a little bit more time using the more quote-unquote traditional strats.
Definitely. And of course, Alexa with Palom in the middle. River's doing the same thing there. If you roll high enough on, I'm not sure how the random agility rolls are calculated for, back attack, surprised, and strike first, but your middle character will always take the first action in a fight if you get strike first, which will let Palom cast that Quake right off the bat every time Rivers gets us, or Alexa get us to surprise the dragon, which, given that it's in an egg, you'd think would be easier to do.
Yeah. Now, also pay a little bit of attention here to what Rivers is doing during the battle. So he parries his way to get to Palom, uses Palom to cast Quake. And then once he casts Quake, once the animation starts, he goes into the item screen to rearrange his items somewhat while the Quake animation is going on.
So, oh, wow. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah,
handle your equipment geared while you're grinding?
Yeah, it's just one of those little things that saves a bunch of time.
I'm going to have to keep that in mind while practicing this next week.
Yeah, when I first saw Rivers doing that, I'm like, that's brilliant. I need to do this.
Definitely. Like every time I'm practicing, or even more so when I'm in a race, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm taking too much time in the menu. Too much time in the menu. Here, oh, there's a Quake animation. Why don't I just do my menuing now? Having 3 of our 4 racers now grinding on the Yellow Dragons. This is going to be a very close one, folks, so definitely keep your eyes on these, and we'll see who takes off for the moon first.
Yeah, this is going to be a close one getting to Zeromus, but I think Rivers is going to pull away here because he does have the 10 key items. You're going to find that his grind is going to go a lot more quickly, and I like Rivers' party setup than I do with either Alexa or Nico.
Oh yeah, Alexa is still having a Tella, and her Tella does have the Ordeals spells unlocked at least. Cerniko, I don't think Cerniko ever went back there, so his Tella is just a senile old coot at this point, pretty much.
Yeah, Cerniko's Tella is basically Zeromus fodder at this point.
One of the few characters I think, like, in that case, I think I would rather have Edward than Tella, actually. Like, Edward at least does get some HP growth and can throw an item or two. This Tella is going to be a serious liability, so I hope he can pull it off.
Well, for Nico, I am wondering, and I alluded to this before, I'm wondering if he's going to use Tella as his Big Bang nuke, or nerf, I should say. That he's going to use Tella to cast Fire 1 or Lightning 1 or whatever at the time where Zeromus shakes, which then frees up Porom to cast Cure 4 and Palom to nuke.
May see some reflect strats there, because once, given that Zeromus will counter those spells with a nuke of his own, you don't want to be eating too many of those. And if Palom can then just be put on DPS, that'll definitely make up a little bit of the ground. Yeah,
and that's a very, very salient point there. Whenever you're trying to nuke the Big Bang, you also have to eat a nuke of damage. And Porom and Palom and Tella, they're not going to be able to eat too many nukes before a nuke Big Bang combo kills them.
Yep. Sid, on the other hand, he will eat all the nukes for breakfast. He's just like, yes, okay, what, that tickled. Is that all you got? As he bashes it with a hammer.
Yeah, as you can notice that, Cerniko's Sid is already at 3,400 hit points, and Rivers is just a little short of 3,000. So you can see that these levels are coming fast and furious here, but Nico's Tella is still not even at 1,000.
And you may have a better explanation of this than I do. It looks like Rivers is trying to down his own Cecil in this fight, which, given that the experience flag gives every character their own XP, I'm not sure what's going on there. Do you have any insight into that?
So I think what Rivers is doing is he's purposefully nerfing Cecil's agility value. Right here. He's preventing Cecil from gaining too many levels so that Zeromus doesn't become too fast.
That makes perfect sense. The even with that, I've always been like, I'll try to balance it through gear, but on this flag set, you aren't guaranteed a cursed ring or a dwarf axe or something else that'll take a Cecil down a peg. So that's actually really clever. Going to make his sequencing a lot easier when he's actually fighting the final boss.
Exactly. That's exactly what he's doing.
And 2600 HP will definitely be enough for Cecil to handle a Big Bang or a nuke. So should be good to go on that front. Alexa not having to worry about knocking hers out because she already has a different agility anchor.
Yeah, it looks like Nico and Alexa are using Tella as their agility anchor. They both have the same party.
Yep, that's true. Although Tella post-ordeals, Tella pre-ordeals, are they really the same party?
Yeah, not so much. So, Ruble, Zeromus' stat scale based on Cecil's ? Not his stats, his agility stat. But it's really wacky the way it works, but basically, Zeromus' speed is proportional to Cecil's. The faster Cecil is, the faster Zeromus will attack and get in the Big Bang. The slower Cecil is, the slower that happens. Now, if you don't have Cecil in your party, then Zeromus' agility stat correlates to the member in your party that is in the middle of the party. So right now, the way it's set up, it would correlate to Tella for Nico, to Palom for both Rivers and Alexa. But Rivers does have Cecil in the party, so what he did is he killed Cecil in order to prevent Cecil's agility from getting too high, which prevents Zeromus from going too fast.
Exactly. And just for those of you in the audience who are wondering, well, what's a good cutoff? What should I be looking at? Whether it's Cecil or a different anchor, the good cutoffs are around multiples of 14. So if you're lower than 14, you've gotten too low, and Zeromus will be too fast. Other than that, 14, 28, 42. 42, you may be getting a little too fast of a Zeromus for you to handle, but those are pretty good cutoff points to try to keep your anchor's agility at for the fight.
Yeah, and for me, other than that, what are the cutoffs I use? I typically look at Palom because for a lot of these seeds I've been using Palom. I try to get Palom 2000 HP and the nuke spell. So to me that means Palom's ready.
Same. That's my grind ends when Palom learns nuke. I'm like, okay, there we go.
Yep, exactly. Yep, I pretty much do the same. And as you can see now, Rivers is getting himself equipped for the Zeromus fight. He's equipping anything that enhances strength for his melee characters, and he's equipping anything that enhances will for his white mage and wisdom for his black mages. So,
because a lot of Zeromus' attacks don't actually worry that much about your character's stats. Big Bang ignores defense. I believe the nuke, if you have high magic defense, you're good there, but it's more about your ability to put out damage and heal it back up than worrying about, do I have, the highest defense on my stat screen.
Right, exactly. For me personally, I never look at physical defense. Really what matters in the Zeromus fight is magic defense and speed. I mean, really. And strength for your melee characters. Kylan, we have not seen Rosa yet either in this seed. So this has been a challenging flag set as far as characters go.
Definitely. I know that I have in my mind the kind of party I want to go to that final fight with, but sometimes you have to take what you can get if you want to be fast. So it should be interesting to see how these Z fights pan out.
Exactly. Now, me personally, I would have checked the Baron spot just to see if I could have gotten a Rosa, an Edge, or even a Yang. I think would have been great here, given that just he gets more HP than Sid and can do more damage than Sid.
Definitely. All right, and I know everyone's waiting with bated breath. We're very soon going to get to see who our final boss will be tonight, with the Z flag enabled.
All right, so critical here for Rivers' fight, and you're going to notice this, is his ability to nerf the Big Bang. What do we mean by that? Well, Zeromus has differing magic power as the battle progresses. It lowers his battle power whenever he casts Nuke, and it raises it when he casts things like the Big Bang. So if you can get him to cast Nuke right before a Big Bang, you can lower his magic attack for the Big Bang. And we have Andros.
Andromas. I have actually not seen that one yet in any of the seeds I've run, so this is a new one to me, and a beautiful addition to the game there.
Absolutely. For those of you not familiar with Andros, he is the final boss in Star Fox.
And there goes Rivers, going ahead and triggering that first nuke, so that the Big Bang will be nerfed quite a bit. We'll get to see the damage put out by it in just a moment. And one thing to note is that frequently, in subsequent phases, you'll want to wait till Zeromus does that shake before trying to nerf the Big Bang, but the very first one you can nerf right out the gate, no need to wait, which is really nice if you're throwing a Silk Web at him to slow him down even further. Sir Nico entering the fight as well. Really looking forward to seeing how that goes, given the Tella situation, so I'll be keeping my fingers crossed there for Sir Nico.
Alright, so this is going to be a really interesting fight for Sir Nico here. I'm very curious to see how this goes.
Well, both Porum and Palom have well over 2,000 HP, so he should be okay on that front, but he will be pretty much fighting this fight with 4 characters instead of a full party of 5. River's doing a little ATB buffer there, holding the escape button in an unescapable fight to slow down Andromas even further.
And when he gets the chance, notice he is berserking his melee characters.
Alexa doing a little inventory management here. It looks like she is done with her grind and ready to go as soon as she has her useful items near the top of her inventory.
It looks like Sho now has 9 key items.
He does have the crystal, though, already from that rat chest, so we'll see if he tries to go find a 10th or if he's ready to start his grind. One thing I will say about tonight's seed that's nice is that I know the last week or the week before having the, it was 2 weeks ago, we found both an early darkness crystal and an early crystal. So it was much trickier to figure out, where do I want to farm? Do I want to go to the moon and deal with the enemies there? Do I want to try to go to the giant? Do I want to go underground and do trapdoors or yellow dragons? This week, no darkness crystal, no question. There is one good place to go, and they all went there.
So I have a little bit of breaking news from the randomizer community. I know a lot of you, instead of this, may have been going to watch the Final Fantasy I Randomizer League Grand Finals tonight. Unfortunately, one of the 3 runners participating in the Grand Finals race tonight has fallen sick. So that race has been postponed for a while and will be rescheduled shortly. So we're sorry to relay that news, but we're glad you're here instead.
And of course, if you are interested in what you're seeing here, if you have fond memories of Final Fantasy IV, or just think the randomizer looks interesting to you, come join the Discord. Go visit the website. We're always welcoming new members to the community. I'm relatively new to it myself, and everyone's been kind and helpful, and we'd love to have you. Sir Nico taking a wipe to his Zeromus fight, so he's now actually just a little bit behind Alexa. We'll see if they converge again during the actual battle.
And Rivers, meanwhile, taking this fight very slow and steady.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is accidentally mess up nerfing one of those big bangs and then losing your white mage in the middle of the fight, especially if a bunch of your characters are already berserked. Yeah, triggering that nuke counter right before the big bang got off. Whew, safe.
Yeah, and as you can see, all of the big bang damage were in the triple digits, whereas if you get one full strength, then you're looking at anywhere between 1,500 and 3,000, basically.
So Pat Frapp in chat is asking us, how are we already fighting Zeromus? Well, it's kind of at the end here, but to go back over how Free Enterprise works is that right off the gate we'll give you an enterprise, that's why it's called Free Enterprise, and a key item, and you then can scour the world pretty much anywhere you have access to find ultimately the crystal that transforms Zeromus and a way of accessing him, either the pass to take you through the new backdoor in Troya, or the darkness crystal, and you can go through the lunar subterranean the old-fashioned way.
And given that the pass was actually given to you from Edward and Troya, and that the crystal was the free item you get from the Feymark, this really was a pretty quick seed. Just really quick, while our runners here are fighting through Zeromus, and Show is getting ready, it looks like, to grind for this. Real quick, I'm going to go through a really quick item recap. Edward and Troya had the pass. The Antlion had the Magma Key. The Fabul Gauntlet held the Pan. Baron Inn had the Twin Harp. Mount Ordeals held the Rat Tail. The Dwarf King had the Sand Ruby. The Feymark was the Crystal. The Sylphs had the Baron Key. Returning the Pan gave you the Pink Tail. The Sealed Cave had the Spoon, which we got through the warp glitch after beating the two enemies behind the throne in the Dwarf Cave and Dwarf Castle, and then they started the race with the package.
Sir Nico deciding that he did not much care for his character's present level. He's gone back to do a little more grinding. Alexa took a reset, so she's coming back to give Zeromus another run. And River's still going through the fight, little by little, making sure to keep his characters topped off. Ooh. That Big Bang did not get nerfed. Sid and Palom are on the floor. That Cure 4 will bring the rest of the team back up to snuff, though. So, should still be okay. We'll see how the rest of the fight pans out.
Yeah, the only thing that could be bad is if everything was mistimed and he started the Meteo phase right now, that could be a problem.
Oh, yeah, eating a Big Bang, then tipping Zeromus over into that final thing, just to watch your last few surviving characters go down. Yeah. Luckily, the Cure 4 was already cured up, so looks to be in good shape.
Now, he saw Zeromus shake. Is he going to try to nerf this one? I think he's a little questioning his timing. He doesn't get the nerf off.
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat. Let's see. What'll be really bad is if this does enough damage to knock Porum down. Oh, it's only 1200, so it's still good. It's still good.
gets a little fortunate there.
Yeah, that low roll may have saved the day right there. Although, for those of you interested in a close finish, it would have given Alexa a good chance to catch up. So. And with the Meteo, we know that Zeromus is on his last legs, but so is the party. Is Zeromus going to get another one off? Or Andromus, pardon me.
I don't think so. I think with this Cure 4, that pretty much ensures that Rivers will win this battle.
Definitely. Porum saving the day.
And there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, get out your GGs. Rivers McCowan is finished in first place in the seed with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 35 seconds.
And we'll see if we can get Rivers on into the chat in just a moment.
Okay, so we have Nico. Looks like he got a few levels. Now he's going back to Zeromus. And Alexa is doing the slow and steady thing. And it looks like she's actually been pretty successful so far.
Sho has got his 10th key item thanks to getting those 2 from Sheila. So he's probably ready to go take care of his grind now, getting the double XP gains as well. Alexa having a little bit of trouble with Andromas. Kain on the ground, Tella following soon. Still though, getting the Cure 4 already queued up and ready to go. Getting her surviving party members back up to max HP.
And with that ding, we have Rivers McCown in with us in Discord. Rivers, good game, sir.
Thanks, guys.
So, how sweaty were your hands there during that Zeromus fight? He got you pretty close a couple of times.
This was just a really bad seed as far as like giving you items to play with. Really, I didn't have Cure 3s. I didn't have the Berserk item, the Bacchus wine. So I wasn't on pins and needles or anything. But you know, I knew coming in I had to be really safe.
We saw Sid swing away a hammer still, even at the final fight, instead of an axe. So clearly, it was starving you a little bit throughout that run.
Yeah, I had Earth Hammer, Ice Brand, and Blizzard Spear.
Yeah, this was really rough as far as characters go and as far as items go. I mean, we didn't see Rosa, we didn't see Fusoya, and we didn't see Edge.
Nope. I don't even know where Yang is, so, I mean, I missed out at all.
Yeah, we've not seen Yang either. 4 characters. I thought only Fusoya and Edge were supposed to be hard to find under these flags. What's going on?
The seed was great if you wanted to see Edward and Edward and Edward.
Now, it looks like Sho is actually going to Baron Castle, and I'm guessing not only to get his key item from there, but probably to ditch Tella.
Feels good, man. Ditching Tella.
Well, both of our current runners at Zeromus, Alexa and Nico, they both still have Tella in their party.
They actually have the exact same party, in fact. The twins, Sid, Kain, and Tella.
Yeah, when I saw that early Sid, I wasn't sure if I should take him or not, but then as we kept playing, it became more and more clear that I should.
Yeah, we saw you actually do the reset there. A lot of people just, went and decided to lug him around with them, and you were like, no, let me see who else I get in this free lunch, even though it was slim offerings, to be sure.
I just wanted to make sure you guys could see that, you give Edward the mute dagger, and all of a sudden he's a badass.
Yeah, we did notice a few fights he actually proved his worth.
Sure, let's go with that, yeah.
Hey, he saved my bacon against early Asuras in certain more trickier positions with that quad damage, no doubt.
So Alexa's regrinding, it looks like.
Cerniko actually also had gone back for a second grind session before coming back for this fight, although he has not been to Ordeals yet, so his Tella, I mean, both their Tellas are going to have pretty low HP, but his Tella is lacking some of the utility that Alexis is at this point.
Yeah, and both of them saw Cecil in the Watery Pass and said, nope. Where this is, I get why some people really don't like Cecil, but in this particular seed, I think for the damage he can do, it was worth it.
I mean, in this particular seed, you only had really 3 frontline characters the entire time, so yeah, I mean, it was either take Cecil to Ordeals. Like when I got the Sirens and the Magma Key, I was like, well, wait a minute, do I actually want to do that right now, or is Cecil going to be the best I have? And, every bit of evidence the seed was giving me was, maybe you might need Cecil for this one.
And we finally see our first axe on Sho's side. We find the poison axe in the sewer leading to Baron.
Must be nice.
Well, I mean, you could have used the Gaia Axe to cast Quake and try to nerf Big Bangs. No, we don't want to cast Quake with Sid.
Actually, the sad thing about that party was that Palm was my best character as far as damage.
Yeah, with the nuke. Yeah, absolutely.
That just goes to show you just how poverty the seed was as far as items and front row characters.
With that T2 and S2 active, all of a sudden Black Magic becomes very handy indeed.
Yeah, towards the end of the fight, I was thinking, well, maybe I should just put a wall up and just start reflecting nukes, but then we got the Meteo, and then I clutched it out. Just barely.
Yeah, if Porum had... you got very lucky with a couple of those rolls, because if Porum had gone down in the midst of casting that Cure 4, ooh, there would have been tears in chat.
Yeah, that would have been really... Ooh, that would have been bad.
So it is looking like Nico is putting the hurt on Zeromus here. He's getting off a bunch of 99-99 nukes, so you don't need too many of them before Zeromus really starts losing a lot of his HP, and he's doing well nerfing these big bangs. And Nico's having a really nice fight here.
Alexa finally getting Life 2 on her Porum. We'll see if that is enough. No, still doing a little more grinding, wanting those extra HP. And we have a second place finisher. Silverfire is finishing second place with an SRL time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 59 seconds.
Nicely done, Silverfire.
Nice time.
Yeah, and this seed, that is a really nice time. I you know, as we were sitting here, there's no way I could have sub 90 this, in my opinion. So, you know, that's a great time. Anything 90 and above in this seed is excellent, in my opinion.
And coming right behind him, Bill Bodix has finished in third place with a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 35 seconds. Less than a minute separating the two. We may be seeing a pretty big influx of finishers fairly soon.
The snipes keep coming. Poor Sir Nico, because he's already in this fight. He's deep in the fight, and now he's seeing all these dot tons.
Yeah, that's got to be a little demoralizing for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, Sir Nico was actually the first one of you to enter Go mode, having found the crystal and the pass both. He dove Feymarch fairly early, and Edward's hiding allowed him to survive quite a few fights, both there and the Sylph Cave.
See, Edward did prove his worth today.
He did. Just, you know, by being a coward.
Hey, he may be better than Tella at this point, though.
And we have Sho fighting the Evil Wall as the first Baron boss.
It's never a good sign when you see Cecil start raising the hands to Cure there.
Nico is getting down to the Meteo phase here with Andromas, so one more nuke should take care of it.
Alexa getting ready to go give Zeromus another run. Hopefully this will be the big jackpot win.
So this ought to do it here for Nico.
There we go. Nico finishes in fourth time with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 56 seconds.
And for those of you not in the RC chat, a great comment here. When in doubt, gain 1 billion more levels. And it paid off definitely this time.
All right, before Nico comes in, let me quickly pass along some news. News from above. So
we have breaking up.
So we've polled the people in our Discord channel, and we've come to the decision to add a second weekly race to go on Speed Gaming starting June 1st. Friday, June 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Ooh, prime time Friday night. That is amazing.
So we will repeat this later in the Discord, so don't worry if if you missed it, have I cut out or whatever. We will talk more about it for sure, but that is the next step for FF4 Free Enterprise, and I may have another surprise to mention next week as well.
Ooh. And just before we go to Sir Nico here, who has joined us, we have a fifth place finisher. Demarin 2 has finished in fifth place with 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 10 seconds.
Well, congratulations to Demarin.
All right.
So figuring out Zeromus seems like that's the strategy for this seed.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think about the party you took to that final fight? Did you have any considerations about trying to substitute one at the end there?
Oh, I mean, I wanted to, but when you get that far and you have that many items, you don't want to waste time searching for somebody who's going to make your party marginally better when you have just such an easy grind area. I mean, that was a party that could work. So you might as well make it work.
And that you did, being the second of our featured four to finish. The Alexa not too far behind you. We'll see how she pulls off this Andromas fight.
It looks like same party that I used.
So, reading the Discord a little bit, because there is a little bit of chat, of course, after these races, there was an Excalibur in the Sylph Cave.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't find myself hunting down the trap chests, and maybe that's a strategy I should be using.
Well, in seeds like this, where we have S2, T2, I think the nice thing about the chest is that they're going to have some of the better items. So if you're really hurting for items, it might not hurt to check out some of those chests.
On the other hand, though, one thing that I was really impressed with, Sir Nico, is your Edward strats on the way diving both Sylph Cave and Feymarch. Even if you're being back attacked every fight, if he's off screen, you're not wiping. So maybe it wouldn't have been good to check some of those monster in a box chests, but that strategy worked out wonderfully for you.
Yeah.
Grind, it was just the extra key item definitely gave Rivers an advantage while making yellow dragon omelets.
Right. Yeah, the Edward straps are really handy. I think that's like one of the few places that he's useful for. That and killing Plague as the first enemy in the game. Those are really the only two places where Edward shines.
Little inside joke there for those of you in the Discord. Rivers, you want to give a quick explanation of what he's talking about there?
If you've ever wanted to watch somebody hide and reset Plague's countdown for an hour and a half, I have a highlight for you.
And you can, of course, find that on Rivers' channel. Make sure you give all these runners a follow. They are all putting on a great show for you tonight, and they've all done an excellent job. So make sure you follow them, because we race this throughout the week. So you may not even have to tune in on a Monday night if you want more free Enterprise Rando in your life.
Yeah, I haven't even looked. What are next week's flags like?
I believe the highlight is the K2.
Yep, K2's coming for you. This isn't the K4 seed we had way back, but this is K2 again, so everybody get ready for that.
It's K2, S3, T3, and I think with Japanese items on, I think?
No Japanese items on, but you are right about the rest.
Oh, that could be... Yeah, that sounds like that's going to be a wild seed then.
To me, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, K2, of course, adding other possible locations for our key items. The Summon Monster locations, Sylph, Asura, Leviathan, Odin, and Bahamut, as well as the Lunar Subterranean boss locations. So, be a little more complicated of a scavenger hunt next week, probably.
I believe we did the K2 flags as our second weekly race, and if I recall, the crystal was behind the ribbon bosses. The boss that comes before the ribbons.
Correct. It was right there, and I won that race by like 25 minutes by being the only person to go to the moon, really.
Yeah. I remember that one. That was.
I believe I took about 3 hours to finish that because I did not want to go to the moon. I learned my lesson, and I learned it very harshly.
And it looks like
wants to sit through that cutscene.
So it looks like Sho is picking up his sirens now.
All right, it was good chatting with you folks. I'm going to drop out. Have a good race.
All right, GG, Nico. Good job.
GG.
I'm actually going to step away for 2 seconds, and then feel free to take over for 2 seconds.
All right, sure thing. And Alexa, looks like this Zeromus fight going much more swimmingly. The only person on the ground is Tella, and that is not unexpected whatsoever.
really unfortunate when you come into this fight and Kain has the fire sword on.
Oh. Yeah, definitely weapon starved this time. It also doesn't help that a lot of the easy places to grab a bunch of chests also never really came available. Like the Troya basement, unlocked by the Earth Crystal, gives a big old loot hoard that, you know, occasionally has something handy in it, so that was unavailable. Pretty much the main places to get gear were to go through dungeons, and with encounters on, that may eat into your time worse than just doing the extra bit of grinding.
Yeah, one of the things that I think for these flags would make them a lot more fun, in my opinion, and something that I probably will try if I get a chance to, is to throw them in K2 so that you actually get some high-powered items, just not an overflow of them.
Yeah, because if you're fighting those summons and the lunar bosses, well, if they don't have a key item, they'll at least have something from the high-end pool for your team.
Yeah, this one the only thing we got that I got the entire time was the Stardust Rod from the Sylph Cave, and I suppose somebody said in the race spoilers section that they found X-Cow in a chest there. That could have been a way to go too, but when you're in the middle of a race, you kind of weighing the pros and cons. Mm-hmm. And this guy just happened to find it along the way. I guess that's this is Silverfire is who it was. I guess that just you gotta take that.
Yeah, I don't mind checking it, like with the encounters on. I don't mind checking a chest if it's already on my path, but going out of the way for one that may not even be, end up being just 40G, very, very difficult to make that decision. So definitely paid off for him though.
Definitely. Way better than watching Kain and Sid swing away and barely do 2,000 damage at what looks like Cuckoo Bananas levels.
Did you find Starveils available in any shops on the run?
I did, yeah. It was the first shop I checked, actually.
I wonder if anyone, none of our featured streamers, obviously, I wonder if anyone went in with the double Black Mage strats, just grinded Rydia and Palom up, and tried to reflect nukes for their DPS. Yeah,
that would be, oh, here's Media Phase. Gotta pray she survives, though.
Oh, and it looks like she may have just gotten sniped, though. F. Coughlin has finished in 6th place with an SRL time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 16 seconds.
Whew! That was another nail-biter there.
And Alexa also wrapping up, an official time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, 35 seconds. Right behind him, another snipe. 2 snipes in a row.
Yeah, that was a GG, but I will clear out of here. I have made this announcement public on our Discord, so thank you, Enven and Z-Man, for commentating, even though Z-Man's now away. And I look forward to hearing you guys shout at Alexa, or have her shout at you for 5 minutes.
Nicely done, sir. And again, good job on the announcement. You want to repeat that announcement just as you sign off?
Absolutely. So there will be a new weekly race for FF4 Free Enterprise added on Speed Gaming starting Friday, June 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Promotion for Natara. So she will be administering that restream. So make sure to stay tuned. And of course, there'll be another announcement of interest next week.
Ooh, exciting news coming to the Free Enterprise community. That is excellent to hear. Very excited.
Okay, take care, guys. Thanks.
Take care, Rivers. Nicely done. All right, so we are just now waiting for Alexa to join us in chat as we watch show. Is he starting to do his grind, maybe?
Yeah, we saw this the other week. When you're not exactly sure where the yellow dragons are, and if you use sirens in other parts of the map on the west, you'll find these centipedes instead. So let's see if he keeps trying to fight them here, or if they go and explore just a little bit more.
Hello?
Alexa, GG!
Thank you very much.
So how did you feel about that Zeromus fight?
I thought it was very difficult, but I gained the levels that I needed to, and I did it. I made it happen.
Were you missing Rosa, Best Bay Rosa on this seed?
Oh my gosh, I absolutely was. I was also missing my ultimate Bay, Rydia, even though she's like practically useless with these flags.
Well, Rydia was actually in. Oh crap! Where was Rydia? She was.
Was she Sand Ruby, I believe?
Sand Ruby. Yep.
You know what? And I meant to check Sand Ruby when I went to Kaipo to get Sid, but just didn't. I feel like I kept running into battles that like I shouldn't have been able to finish, and trying them, and then eventually finishing them. It was fun. It was a challenging seed, particularly like dealing with the twins and Tella, and no third like melee character.
Well, there was a third melee character that you noped out of. You noped out of Cecil on the Watery Pass.
I did, didn't I?
Indeed.
I just don't like him. Although he's good. He's good in these flags. He's totally good in these flags because crystal equipment is sort of prevalent with T2. But yeah, I just saw him and I was like, nope, don't want that guy.
And we actually just saw Sho pick up the crystal armor in an untrapped chest in the Sylph Cave.
Wow. Yeah,
Just
I don't
while
open chests in the Sylph Cave unless there's I don't know, T4, K4.
We have Penguinator wrapping up as well, finishing in 8th place with an SRL time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 18 seconds.
Oh, GG to everybody who's finished so far, and especially Penguinator, since they just finished right now. I also feel like I could have probably made first if I had just grinded a little more.
You
But
did get to that Zeromus fight fairly early, you and Cerniko both, and you both had to come back and do a little more grinding. The Rivers had the advantage of the 10 key items, so even though he started his grind after you, that double XP went a long way for him.
And I was thinking about going for the other key items. If I was at 8, I would have gone to Giat Castle because glitches are on, so I would have been able to easily get 2 key items there. But I felt like with 7, it was a bit of a stretch to like go do Yang and then like go to Sheila and then all that stuff. So yeah, I feel confident about like the plays that I made though, and I feel like I learned a lot. But thank you both for...
You set a PB, so congratulations on that as well.
Oh yes, thank you very much. Yeah, it's the fastest I've ever done this game.
And you know, with this flag set and with just the absolute dearth of good characters and good weaponry available to you, that's a great job to PB in this seed.
Why, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I also wanted to take a moment and shout you guys both out. Thank you so much for commentating. Thanks to the Restream team and to our tracking team. I see you guys over there muted. I know you can hear me. Thank you. And GG's to everyone who's finished so far, and good luck to the rest of the runners.
Couldn't have said it better. I don't think anyone could have said it better. Thank you, Alexa.
Have a lovely night.
You too.
See, we have a 9th place finisher as well, Mecha Link, with a time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 59 seconds. Alright, so, Sho, it appears that Sho Fukumachi is checking some of these trap chests in the Sylph Cave, hoping to get some improved gear, maybe some better weapons. We do know that there is Excalibur hidden in one of these chests, if he's not gotten it already. Maybe some other good stuff as well, waiting for him down here before he goes and does his grind. Good experience from some of those trap chests as well. There's that life staff we mentioned earlier with the plus 15 will. That'll make any White Mage's healing quite a bit more potent. Leaving Porum on the ground, actually. The 2 centipede fight, probably the least nasty trap chest in this cave, especially if you already have float cast on your party. Their main threat being Quake, of course. Checking a few more chests here. There's another trapped one. You don't have to go very far to find a trapped chest in the Sylph Cave, given a full... Let's see if I can find the count on that right quick.
I think it's 7, I want to say.
Yeah, 7 trapped chests in the Sylph Cave. So if you are gear-starved and having trouble making headway, not a bad place to look for under these flags. He's definitely found some improved gear.
Yeah, in my opinion, some of the best places to look for gear, especially early-ish, is definitely the Sylph Cave once you're strong enough, and the Eblon Cave, because the Eblon Cave has relatively beatable monsters, and there's 3 trap chests in there.
Mm-hmm. Especially on a Cataseed, those ones where you're just like, I need to suffer a little bit. Let me make all the flags as hard as possible, and the loot you find in Eblon can pretty much make or break those runs.
Yeah, they absolutely can. Let's see what he gets here for his troubles and finds. Wow, Leviathan spell is worth it.
Definitely adds some good Rydia utility until she learns higher level black magic, which with these flags, I think that her spells are learned at higher levels. I always forget which of the J flags causes that. So if it is this one, that definitely gives her some much needed DPS earlier on.
Yeah, this will make the hunting through these trap chests a lot easier too, because Leviathan should be able to take down most of these enemies in one call flat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do pointing out in the chat that you do have to wait till level 55 to get the nuke spell on her, so this will definitely accelerate things a little bit, letting her do that multi-target damage. Although nuke is single target, but this will let her, like this toad lady and 6 bog toads, or tiny toads, if she can get the spell off without being turned into a frog herself.
And I think you just jinxed it. But it looks like we'll be able to take care of this toad lady relatively quickly.
Yeah, more of an annoyance than an actual challenge. I think that literally the only thing they do is make the toads cast toad, and then when there are no toads, well, they do this.
Yeah, and then just sits there casting toad pointlessly.
So when I said that the centipedes were the least dangerous, I may have been wrong. They're probably the least annoying, because the bog witch with the toads definitely takes the cake there, but she's also the least threatening, no doubt.
And yeah, it is interesting to me that he is leaving Porom dead. Makes me wonder if he thinks that Tella's going to be his healer.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the play is at this point, because Tella definitely will have a difficult time surviving even some of the nerfed Big Bangs, especially if he eats a nuke first. And I do rightly pointing out in chat that even with that fancy life staff show found down here, Tella's Cure 4 still only does about 700 to the full party, so...
Yeah, it's going to need a couple of those to heal off the Big Bangs.
And I'm sure if show is anything like I've been during the week, the encounter rates in some of the Final Fantasy IV dungeons are just so frustrating. It really makes you thankful for all the weeklies we've had where we've been able to toggle encounters on and off, because there's no worse feeling than taking 3 steps and then having another batch of enemies that you're just going to run from anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now it looks like he's now tried to revive Porom, and now that Sho has the 10 key item doubling experience, now Porom should be able to keep up with experience and really get some of those good healing spells quick.
And of course, in addition to that, any character who's behind, I believe the median party member in terms of level, will get triple XP from fights. It's not listed at the top, but they definitely climb levels very quickly if they're lagging behind the group.
Cecil 1, Tellah 1, Kain 1, Rydia 1, Porom 10! And the diamond armlet, so not worth that.
Not
the experience
one
is nice.
Yeah, 44,400 there. Was definitely. It's no yellow dragon, but it definitely helps.
So just to give you an idea, there were 15 people racing. I'm sorry, 14 in this race. Rivers McCown finished first, Silverfire second, Bill Biotics third, Cernico fourth, Demarine 2 fifth, Fred F. Coughlin sixth, Alexa LaFay seventh, Penguinator eighth, Mecha Link ninth, and we still have Big Dunka, Sho Fukumachi, Scratch Dragon, Unos, and Nitsky 1 still racing.
Getting a good little bit of a party composition discussion in chat. The people talking about the parties they prefer when the seed actually gives you options. This one, of course, being a little cruel to our runners, saying, "Okay, you can have Rydia or Cecil." Oh, did you want these 4 characters? No, they're not in this seed. You don't get them. I see you over there defending your Spoony Bard in chat, Z-Man. One of these weeks, when I'm feeling extra spoony, I'll take Edward to Zeromus. Probably not in the weekly race, probably just for fun, but just to see how he holds up.
So it looks like Sho's now digging the cave to the summon monsters, possibly for that trapped chest.
Only one trap chest down here, containing 5 of the armored warrior type enemies. I forget their exact name.
Warriors.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be why I forgot it. Way to give yourselves a very bland name, guys. I expect better. Like Hooligan. Hooligan. What a great name for a monster compared to warrior. Please.
Hooligan for a winged gargoyle type. It doesn't really fit for me, but hey, that's me.
They're just really big fans of soccer.
Now, do note that when it comes to the trap chest here in the Cave to the Land of the Summon Monsters, this does not count the Feymark chests themselves. The chests in the Feymark itself will not be guarded by enemies.
I guess that counts as like a zone change for purposes of the engine, which has many interesting features in it the more you dig down into it.
Well, let's call a spade a spade. FF4 is buggy.
Definitely. But that's one of the things we like about it. That's why we have the glitchless flag, so that, no, I would like to have all the money in the world, and I would like Tellah to cast Meteo a whole bunch.
Yeah, the S4, T4 with everything free. We'll just jack up Tellah's MP till he can cast everything 100 times.
You know what? Let Yang and Kane also have some MP. MP for everyone. Soma drops all around.
Whenever I find, Soma drops in an S4 seed, I always make sure to give, Kane, Yang, and Sid some MP just because.
Everyone else is like, this is delicious. And I'm like, come on, guys. Look, okay, we never went to magic school, but you can't just hog all the good stuff to yourselves.
Oh my god, we have another axe. We have an ogre axe.
Ooh. Definitely an improvement over the Earth Hammer. I mean, Sid's not in Show's party, but still, the every little bit of DPS will help.
So, Show continuing to search through some of these chests here. I'm guessing because this is T2, he's trying to find items that might be better than some of the other ones that we've seen so far.
Yeah, definitely, because, we talked about how everyone's been kind of character-starved and kind of loot-starved this seed. We saw the weapons that some of our earlier finishers were using at Zeromus, and at this point you just think, there has to be something better out there. Like a crystal shield. There we go.
And now it's item management time.
Nope, you can't dish a spoon. You may not have edge, but that still counts as a key item. Or actually, no, I know in vanilla you can get rid of it. Never mind. You may receive it as a key item, but that's not one that gets yellowed out, is it?
No, you can get rid of the spoon. I've seen it happen.
Okay, okay. I still remember one of my first times playing this game as a child, receiving that from Sheila and being like, what? What do I do with this? And then finally I was scrolling through Edge's inventory to try to throw, I think, one of the Fuma Shuriken at a monster, and I saw it highlighted. I'm like, oh? What is this? And it definitely saved young Inventurables, but quite a few times. I think it was specifically on the CPU fight, because I was still didn't quite grasp, oh, it does the murder attack if I kill both the little nodes. So when it did start to do the murder attack, I'm like, throw. And that 10 rough, 9999 damage definitely by the spoon definitely saved the day there.
Is Sho doing what I think he's doing?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Giving it the old college try.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
I mean, well-timed nerfs here and some good luck on the nuke targets will definitely can make this doable, but it will be it will definitely be one of the more challenging Zeromus fights I've seen. I felt my pulse just start to increase with anticipation. I'm like, come on, Show.
So this could very well show you what happens when Cecil is leveled decently higher than the rest of your party.
Yeah, because as we were talking about earlier, Zeromus's relative agility, the way his ATBR works, is based off of Cecil's, but so is the rest of your party. So we may see if that hampers Show in this fight as well.
So Sho is going to reveal Zeromus' true self to be Androsmus.
Kind of makes me sad that when Voidface already has his plate full, but I think it'd be really cute, now that I think about it, if, when Zeromus transforms, if your character sprites also transform, like all of a sudden we have 5 little R-Wings over there. Going pew-pew at him.
That'd be fun.
5 little Max whenever it's Mike Tyson.
Well, at least he's getting the first Big Bang nerfed.
Oh, trying to use the Hermes sandals to make Tella be able to get that the healing magics off a little faster as necessary.
Well, he did manage to nerf the Big Bang, I think, and not everybody died.
Tella, still up, living the Tella life. Hashtag Tella life.
Hey, the old man stayed up. How about that?
Maybe if Kane jumps perfectly for the next... How many jumps would this take?
That would be a lot of jumps. Doing what, 1,500 per? And given that Zeromus, I think, has 65,000 HP, that's a lot of jumps.
Earlier today, I was watching River's personal best of the Final Fantasy IV Unprecedented Crisis fan mod, where you let the game punish you for using one of the glitches, but then you just push through it and win anyway with a solo Kane, carefully timing his jumps to avoid the Big Bangs. Not gonna be pulled off on this fight, though, sadly.
Alright, so with that, unfortunately, time allotments, unfortunately, are going to force us to cut stream at this point, unfortunately. But before we do that, we should probably, go through like the schedule coming up here at Randomania and, a few other announcements. So, Inven, do you want to go through what's coming up next on Randomania here?
Oh, I know that there's an event happening this Wednesday night. I believe you have more details on that than I do. So, do you have that in front of you?
For Wednesday night, that's a good thing. I don't know what's going on Wednesday night. Go for it if you know.
I know that our wonderful restreamer gave us the information earlier, but I did not get it written down. I do apologize.
Yeah, I didn't write it down either.
Well,
anyways, coming up tomorrow on Randomania, we've got 3 things going on. We have the Pokemon Crystal Randomizer Cinco Bingo Tournament at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We have the Super Mario Land 2 Randomizer League at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the Zelda 2 Adventure of Link Weekly Race. Also, keep in mind going on that the Zelda 2 Randomizer Tournament is closing submissions, I believe, next Monday. So make sure if you're interested in signing up for the Zelda 2 Randomizer Tournament, you do so, sooner rather than later.
Definitely. Many good games coming to the channel very soon, and make sure you've hit that follow button if you've not already. A lot of great randomizer action coming at you very soon.
Yeah, absolutely, and do make sure you tune in next week here for same bat time, same bat channel for the Final Fantasy IV Weekly Race. Free Enterprise Rando. Next week, your commentators will be Game Boy F9 and Chitin619, so we're very much looking forward to that. And we've talked about some of the seed changes going on for next week. So, Invenerable, any final comments or anything before we kick this over to Randomania 2?
Just thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great night, really fun race. I hope you enjoyed it. And make sure you come join us on Discord, be a part of the community. It's wonderful people, and I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Absolutely, same here. So we are going to sign off now. We're going to kick over to Randomizer Mania 2, who are hosting a Legend of Zelda. So Zelda 1 Randomizer, one of the Battle Royale tournaments that are going on right now. So for our restreamer, Norestra, for our tracker, Shively Asia, for my commentating partner, Invenerable, I am Z-Man050778, signing off for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night.
Good night, everyone.